Hello students, this video would take you through an approach to solve boundaries questions. Now boundaries questions are typically nomenclated by the SAT, College Board and the Khan Academy as questions which have got boundaries, which set off parentheses between the sentences by using either commas, semicolons, colons, etc. Now, let's dive straight into the approach that we would generally take to solve some questions. We are going to take some typical, some atypical questions for our understanding to be profuse and profound in this kind of questions. So, the first question says, journalists have dubbed Gil Scott-Heron the godfather of rap, a title that has appeared in hundreds of articles about him since the 1990s. Scott-Heron himself resisted the dash, feeling that it didn't encapsulate his devotion to the broader African American blues music tradition, as well as the bluesologist moniker he preferred. Great. So, the sentence simply means that the paparazzi actually called him the godfather of rap, but he would rather have given himself a nickname of the bluesologist, not the godfather of rap. Definitely, there is a contradiction out here, and hence, however, seems to be the most logical conjunctive adverb that has been taken. That is not the point out here. We need to understand what kind of punctuation marks are we going to use for this one. So let's do an LHS. The first thing that we do with such questions is doing the LHS and the RHS check for the independent and the dependent clauses. The left hand side says, I'm going to start from here. This sentence I'm going to discount right now because this is an independent sentence, doesn't have our blank into it. This will come in handy if at all, probably, but then we will have to check whether this will come in handy or not. So let's start reading from here. Scott-Heron himself resisted the godfather nickname. Great. Can be demarcated by a full stop. So it makes complete sense. Scott-Heron himself resisted the godfather nickname. Full stop. Yeah. So it is an independent clause on the LHS. And on the RHS, it says, feeling that it didn't encapsulate his devotion to the broader African American blues tradition as well as the bluesologist moniker he preferred. Well, this is a dependent clause because it doesn't make any sense. Feeling that it didn't encapsulate, you cannot just put a full stop if you start reading from here to this place. So this is a dependent clause. So it is an independent dependent kind of a relationship. And obviously, because we have already done our punctuation, that rules out your semicolon, colon, and your period or full stop. So all these punctuations are ruled out, and that leaves us with a comma. So for this one, it is pretty simple that we are not looking at semicolons wherever we find them. So this D is ruled out. We also have a semicolon out here. This is also ruled out. Now the choice is between either A or C. So obviously, however, being a word of transition is not a direct part of either of the sentences, either on the left hand side or on the right hand side, has to be demarcated by a punctuation on both sides from sentence 1 and sentence 2 because this is a conjunctive adverb. So the answer choice A is also ruled out, and hence we come out with answer choice C, which has got both commas out here as the logical answer. This only being the case wherein we have got an independent and a dependent relationship. When we have got an independent and an independent relationship, this would not stand, this comma would not stand because it will cause a comma splice error. So this would not stand. So let's take some examples if we can find some with independent relationships. So let's look at this one. Sociologist Okinaka sits on the review board tasked with adding new sites of Hawaii Register of Historic Places, which includes place X and place Y. We don't want to read that, it's too difficult for me to pronounce. Okinaka doesn't make such decisions dash. All historical designations must be approved by a group of 9 other experts from the fields of architecture, archaeology, history, and Hawaiian culture. Great. So again, let's go in for an LHS and an RHS check. So the first part says Okinaka doesn't make such decisions single-handedly. Definitely an independent clause. And the second part says all historical designations must be approved by a group of 9 other experts from the field of architecture, archaeology, history, and Hawaiian culture. Again, an independent clause. Could be, this could be put, a full stop could be put here, a full stop could be put here. So this is a typical independent kind of a scenario. So we have to rule out all commas if we can find between the two. C is ruled out. D doesn't have any punctuations, so ruled out. The answer choices that we are left with are answer choice A and answer choice B. So having ruled out answer choices C and D and clearing out the board, now let's look at the relationship that we have in the sentence to determine whether we should have however as a part of the first sentence or a part of the second sentence. Now, if the relationship is sentence A and then a however, and then the sentence B, then it becomes a part of the first sentence, meaning that there is a contradiction between whatever preceded sentence A. So, in this one, what precedes sentence A is sociologist Alton Okinaka sits on the review board tasked with adding new sites to the Hawaiian Register of Historic Places, which includes place X and place Y. So this is what preceded A. Now, if we have however as a part of sentence B, so if it is like A, however, B, that would mean that there is a contradiction between sentence A and sentence B. So we will have to evaluate that in this sentence, whether there is a contradiction between sentence A and sentence B, which in this case is Okinaka doesn't make such decisions. All historical designations must be approved. So that is not what we are looking at. However, the contradiction between Okinaka and these 9 other experts, no, that is not what the point of contention out here is. So there is no contradiction between sentence A and sentence B, while there is a contradiction between what preceded the sentence A and sentence B. What preceded sentence A says that Okinaka does such and such things, but he's not the only one. So out here, there is a but, unsaid but. So in this one, however, has to be a part of sentence A and not sentence B. I hope I was able to clear that out. We will take some other examples to have more understanding of this one. So this one, the hard punctuation has to be after however, which is the semicolon out here, and the comma has to be before the however. So the answer choice for this one will be answer choice A. Let's look at this one. To humans, it doesn't appear that the golden orb web weaver spider uses camouflage to capture its dash. The brightly colored anarchid seems to wait conspicuously in the center of a large circular web for insects to approach. We are not going to read through this one because we don't want it right now. We want to look at the portion that contains the dash or the blank. So in this one, there is some golden orb weaver spider, which unlike other spiders looks like, doesn't really, hide in its web and wait for other creatures to get stuck to it. It is a very brightly colored spider, an arcade, and it waits conspicuously. I mean, it shows itself, makes itself very clear in the center of the stage, so that actually other large insects are attracted towards it and they come towards the web directly. Now let's do the LHS part and the RHS part. So pray, out here we will write pray and read the first part. It says, to humans, it doesn't appear that the golden orb web spider uses camouflage to capture its prey. Definitely a full stop out there. So definitely an independent clause. The brightly colored anarchid seems to wait, and this. So again, an independent clause. So this is again an independent clause and an independent clause relationship. So we can rule out everything that has got only commas. So A gets eliminated immediately, B gets eliminated immediately. So the answer choices again that we are left with are C and D. Now, same logic as the last one. If we have okay, now in this one it is rather simple. Actually, it is simpler than what I presumed it would be. C is absolutely a no choice, wherein we have got a semicolon to go with. It is like two semicolons, generally not used in this kind of sentences. Only in case of serials it is used, serial semicolons. So C is also eliminated. So the answer choice that we have out here is a D. So we don't need to do any further checks for this one. We shouldn't confuse the boundaries questions with transition questions. Now this one is a typical transition question, wherein we have got words like secondly, consequently, moreover, however. You are expected to choose a word. We are not looking at the punctuation mark out here. You are expected to know the word. So this is an independent clause, a full stop after that, a colon, period after that, and it starts with the word however, moreover, consequently, secondly, and you are supposed to find what is the relationship between this one and this one. So you can go through that and find out the relationship. I'll leave that to your discretion. Though the correct answer to this one is D. So this is not a punctuation or a boundaries question at all. This is a transition question. So for this kind of questions, we don't need to put any checks like LHS, RHS, things like that. Don't waste time doing that on the actual SAT exam. Let's look at this one. In 1943, in the midst of World War II, mathematics professor Grace Hopper was recruited by the US military to help the war effort by solving complex equations. Great. So again, this is the introductory statement. We would probably need that to establish the relationship between this one, point A and point B. So let's look at the actual questions. Hopper's subsequent career would involve more than just equations, though as a pioneering computer programmer, Hopper would help usher the digital age. Great. So let's do the LHS and the RHS check. Hopper's subsequent career would involve more than just equations, definitely an independent clause. And as a pioneering computer programmer, Hopper would usher the digital age, again an independent clause. So it's an independent clause relationship. So anything that has got commas should be ruled out immediately. So that rules out options D for us, no punctuation at all, and option B for us. So options D and B are eliminated, one's with the commas only and one without punctuation. So we are left with either A or C. To find that out, let's see the sentence once again. Hopper's subsequent career would involve more than just equations. Though as a pioneering computer programmer, Hopper would help in usher the digital age. No contradiction between this and this. So definitely though cannot be a part of the second sentence. Like in the previous example that we had done with single-handedly, however. So though cannot be a part of the sentence because there is no contradiction between sentence A and sentence B. So again, same thing. If we write a though out here, then it would mean that we have got a contradiction between sentence A and what precedes sentence A. And if we put a contradiction out here, though, A contradiction before the B, though. That means there is a contradiction between A and B. So in this case, obviously, Hopper's subsequent career would involve more than just equations. Though as a pioneering engineering computer programmer, there is no contradiction between A and B, and hence though has to be a part of the first sentence, and the hard punctuation mark has to be after though. So though we have already established that A should be the answer, let's still read and find out whether there is a contradiction between what precedes A and A. So in 1943, in the midst of World War II, mathematics professor Grace Hopper was recruited by US military to help the war effort by solving complex equations. Right, so only for this job, only for solving complex equation, but she was not restricted. So there is a but though out here. Actually, there is though, I mean, she basically expanded her horizons and things like that, though she was only expected to do this one. So there is a contradiction between this part and this part. So the answer choice has to be an A. So as you can see, there are various punctuation marks on the SAT, and obviously the colon also signifies a lot of things, like though as a pioneering computer engineer, Hopper would usher in the, so this explains career would involve more than just solving equations. So this is an explanation, and hence there is a colon. So all sorts of things that we can find, but then this is the LHS, RHS, and the relationship between the the transition word, where it should be relatively put, is very important on the SAT. So let's do this one, and I'll leave one or two to your discretion. Vistas, whatever they are typically not hired to offer direct services as delivering food. Rather, they use their talents on big picture initiatives such as building the capacity and improving the financial health of organizations that employ them. Great. So food and rather. Let's do the LHS RHS check. Vistas are typically not hired to offer direct services such as delivering food, is definitely an independent clause. They use their talents to do something, again an independent clause. So anything with commas can immediately be eliminated, so no change gets eliminated. That is A, which is the comma out here, as you can see. B gets eliminated because again there is a comma and a comma. C says semicolon and a comma could be the case, comma and a colon could be the case. So completely depends on where this rather has to be placed relative to this one. So this one, we don't have any preceding sentences at all. We don't know what precedes this Vista stuff. So I'm quite sure that this one cannot be correlated to with something that precedes, because we don't have anything that precedes this. So this rather should be a part of the second sentence in this one for sure. Without even analyzing, I can put it that way on the SAT. We would not like to waste time. Time is precious on the SAT, and hence the hard punctuation should come after food, which in this case is the C. The correct answer should be a C. I leave this to your discretion. You can pause the video and see if you can make something good out of this one. The answer to this one though is a C. This is a list of some conjunctive adverbs. You might find them handy, on the SAT. So stay tuned for other videos.